Revolutionary greetings to everyone. My name is Ncedisa Mbemnyama, the BLF Western Cape convener. I'm also part of Fees Must Fall, and I'm also part of Jargon Music, which is a hip-hop group thing that I do on the side. I want to make this video to clarify our position as BLF around the decision that was taken at the Kilombo yesterday. First and foremost, I personally am a founding member of Black Solidarity Action and the Kilombo space itself. We're one of the people who have been at the forefront of trying to create that space as a space wherein the black consciousness and the Africanists can come together and recreate leftist politics in a confusing post-94 situation. So the Kilombo space for us was a space wherein we could find each other politically and sharpen each other so that we can move towards the national liberation of our country, the liberation of Africa and the world itself. And also the name Kilombo was given by Andile Mutama of the BLF when he gave a talk there around black consciousness, right? And a decision was then taken yesterday that we have defined ourselves outside of the principles that govern the space. So I want to talk about a few issues that I had a problem with, right? At the time I could not capture all of them. So for instance, the first one would be, how was the decision taken, and what is this thing that the BLF has done that needs or warrants such an irrational, reactionary response, right? We don't believe as the BLF, also me myself, that there was any rationality politically that warrants that kind of a decision. Also, before the decision was taken, there seems to not be a uniformed understanding of how the decision was taken in the first place. It seems that two individuals, Z and Pastor, took a decision and then they just announced it at a certain time without talking to all the stakeholders of the space. That I have a problem, a deep problem with that, with respect to how decisions are made as well. Trying to organize ourselves as black people who want freedom. Also, what is ideologically wrong at the realm of politics, philosophically and tactically and operationally, I would argue, about saying hands off Zuma when it comes under attack from racist whites and the lapdogs or lackeys like the EFF who are strengthening a racist view around Zuma? What is ideologically wrong about us saying hands off Zuma, economic liberation now? Because at the center of all of these controversies around BLF is when we took a decision to say that we read the South African situation as one in which imperialism, like it did in Brazil, wants to topple a democratically elected president who is taking a mandate from poor black people and society at large. And we believe when they are done with Jacob Zuma and the ANC, they are coming for all of us. Whether you are PAC, whether you are AZAPO, whether you are BLF, whether you are non-partisan, non-aligned or anything. When imperialism comes, it comes and destroys all of us. And we believe the people that want Zuma to go want to plunge us deeper into that situation of being taken hold of in a very fascistic way by imperialist forces, and we support him on the BRICS experiment with all its shortcomings, right? We did not get that from Z. It was a long speech that was centered on understanding the history of liberation, but it never read this moment we're in. What are you saying about this moment, except for your irrational fears of selling out, which are yours only, we don't hold them, right? That anytime there are new political developments, the posture is one of irrationality and supposed neutrality from the Western and the Eastern imperialism. Also, what is this Eastern imperialism? Empirically show us, ideologically show us, what is this Eastern imperialism that we should be afraid of? Is it China? Is it the Indians, the Guptas? And also conceptually, what is imperialism? If you would entertain even those things that seem to suggest that we're under some Gupta imperialist attack, whatever, or the Eastern Bloc, whatever. What is this imperial? What are you fearful of? And we never got that. Instead, it was a long speech that was very angry, but never got to. I was really underwhelmed, especially as someone who respects Nzias. I think I was underwhelmed. It didn't move. Nothing fresh was said, except if you're a Xhosa speaking person. Also, another more important ideological point around the BLF being kicked out. Why was EFF people kept in the space? EFF marches with racists, right? So you have the goal to take a decision to kick out people who protect black people and live in your Kilombo with people who march with the enslavers of our people. What kind of logic drives that thing? EFF was marching on TV. The president even said that the march, the Zuma Must Go marches were animated by old racist ideas that are dehumanizing to black people. You had marchers who had bananas. Symbolically, what is a banana? You're called monkeys and baboons and all of that. The EFF marches. The people of EFF were speaking after I spoke and we left. What does that mean? Ideologically, you're supposed to be the leading thinkers in the country around these issues. Why are EFF people still in that Kilombo, if it's a Kilombo anymore? Also, I want to speak around the ageism that characterized the decision and how it was presented. When, comrades, I don't have a father in the revolution. Like, umzalwam akekho ndine comrades. There is no way in which you can speak about the BLF and not include its leadership. You are just lording over us like some overseers, right? And it happened in the first instance when the campaign came out, the Hands of Zuma campaign. And I said to Pastor Xola Skhosana and Mzima Sisibeko that leaders, we are also leaders in our own right. You can't take and talk about policy or campaigns of the BLF without inviting BLF to clarify the positions themselves. You just come in, you sit there, you have a program that is already problematic and is already constructed, and you speak over us. You don't give us a chance to speak. What is ageism? What ageism thing is that? So we believe that we were subjected, of course, we were victimized by older comrades who are supposed to know better. It's totalitarian and authoritarian to not give people a right to speak for their own policy positions or campaigns or programs of action. The Kilombo space is supposed to give us an opportunity to explain ourselves to each other. We're never given that. Instead, it's like we're being lambasted by our fathers for erring and not respecting them. When they know where to get us, we can get Lindsay Masdorp, Pura Jack is around, I'm around, Tamim Kaba is around, Jola Makita is around, Luxolo Ndlovu is around, all these other leaders of BLF. Just because we're young, it doesn't mean that we must be disrespected, comrades. There is no way that that decision and presented in that way can be correct if someone thinks of this. Also, we as people who have been with Andile Mngxitama for some time, right, we know that there are old ideological fights, and some are petty, some are really interesting, that people, and fights generally that people have, and problems that they have with Andile, that they now transport to a new space that we want to create and punish us for their fights with Andile. We are not interested in those things. Show us ideologically where Andile is wrong. You have failed dismally. Both Pastor, both Mzima Sisbeko, or whoever supports them in the deed that they did last night, have failed dismally to convince me that they are better comrades that can lead us more than Andile. So I'm just saying, because there's always the public picture and the picture behind the scenes. We know, as people who have been struggling with these comrades, that there's always that tension around things that happened in the past. So I don't want to be caught up in that. I'm not interested in those. I'm interested in the revolution and how you advance us forward better than Andile. If you can't stop or learn from him or learn from the BLF. Also, I want to return back to a piece I wrote, right, around, as a response to Pastor Kolas Kosana after the hands of Zuma. He wrote something and I responded. And part of the argument I was raising was to say the South African moment now demands us to think in fresh ways and to think, but not just think, to think dangerously, meaning we must make leaps and jumps that are not always popular at certain moments ideologically in order to capture our people, because our people are still in the ANC anyway. The old rigid scope and yach politics of just empty hollow rejectionism of the ANC is scope and yach. We want a Jabupule like kind of getting our people